Hey, how's it going out there, folks? Welcome back here to a Sunday night. It is the Earthmaster out here, about 10:32 p.m. California time, September 15th, 2024. Latest activity here on the globe shows a 1.7. Big island of Hawaii still rocking and rolling out there around Kilauea Volcano. I'll get to that here in just a little bit. I want to talk about this activity up here off the Queen Charlotte Sound area. Now, looking at the dynamics here on the oceanic view here, you can see all those canyons and ridges. That tells me right there that it's at the extreme northern end here. That earthquake that struck is at the extreme northern end of the Cascadia subduction zone. And that was a 6.5, originally coming in as a 6.6. Now, there has been one aftershock, which is a little odd, a little bit further back here across the plate boundary. This would be very close to, the Pacific and the portion of the Explorer Plate here, but shy of the Cascadia subduction zone in this Morrisby Canyon area. So a little bit of interesting activity taking place there right now. Historical data, I want to show you guys historical data up here in the Queen Charlotte Sound area, and just more specifically right around where this earthquake activity struck today. So there's our 5-pointer, 6.5. Right, got the difference here. One a little bit right on the Cascadia, and one just shy of it. Prior to that, there's been a handful of larger quakes out here within the vicinity. I can't say larger, but large earthquakes within the vicinity over the years. The last one looks like 2015, 6.2, 1976, a 6.0. A little bit bigger one, 7.4 back in 1970, but I'm just kind of looking at this general area here. 1942, 6.2, 1976, 6-pointer, and then 2024, 6.5. It almost looks like some of the older quake activity is working its way up north along this plate boundary. But of course, obviously, we get lots and lots of earthquakes out here up and down the area, including the transform boundary up here between the Pacific and the North American plate. But I'm just a little bit more focused here on this northern end of the Cascadia subduction zone. With everything that's been going on out here across California here recently, it's definitely got a little bit of interesting activity. Far as the largest magnitude here in this sequence of earthquakes throughout the years, looks to be the 7.8 back in 2012. But that was a little ways up here off of the Cascadia, right there on the plate boundary of the North American and the Pacific plate. Prior to that, 7.4, second largest magnitude in this area, a little bit closer down there, back in 1970. So we'll continue to keep an eye on this area here. Roughly about the same time, actually it was about 4 minutes prior to this 6.5 today, we had an earthquake here at the southern end of the Cascadia subduction zone. Rather interesting, huh? We get one segment down south and then one up north moving roughly at about the same time. Got a little swarming going on down here across the southern end of the Cascadia, and one literally pretty much right on the Cascadia megathrust plate boundary here, 2.9, 1955. Now, I'm not for certain if that's going to be the time frame 1955. Yeah, this one down here is fairly recent. It was 1522, 1521, actually 1 minute prior to that big one up there today off the coast of the Queen Charlotte Sound area. We've seen a 2.2 here, southern end of the Cascadia subduction zone, 12 miles deep here into that area, and getting another handful of quakes out here since then. So got to watch it, right? Southern end, of course, can see some ruptures out here, including just a partial rupture where we could see up to an 8.4 earthquake. And it's been a long time, obviously a long time since we've seen a full rupture. And occasionally in between full ruptures, we get partial ruptures down here that can kick up to an 8.4. We've studied this quite a bit in other videos. And who knows? Just got to keep an eye on that, right? Tremor map here tonight, Cascadia tremor. Nothing specific up here on the northern end, fairly quiet. There's a handful of tremor down south, more specifically here at the southern end of the Cascadia. That could be why we're seeing a little bit of elevated earthquake activity here just upstream from that tremor. along the plate boundary here, or just shy of the plate boundary at the southern end of the Cascadia subduction zone. Aside from that, I'm trying to think if we got any more aftershock activity in there. For that, I probably need to go to the Canada earthquakes map. We haven't gone there in a little while, so let's go see what's going on here. Bring this up here a little bit. This is just very simple, generic layout, but it's fairly easy to use here. Let's bring up the plate boundaries. There is the 6-pointer. Wow, these guys actually only reporting it as a 6.0, and that's the Earthquakes Canada site. And no aftershocks, really no aftershocks here, aside from this 4.5, which is back upstream here from that earthquake. A little odd. So, we'll continue to watch that. Could be brewing something up there. Could just be a minor adjustment. Well, in this case, a fairly major adjustment, but really no aftershock sequences here, aside from that one little 4.7. All right. Western, Washington area, handful of earthquakes out here. Nothing major. A couple earthquakes, Mount St. Helens, Mount Rainier, and a little bit of swarming around the this area. Is that Snoqualmie? Hopefully that's correct. I've been testing my pronunciation skills out there lately, and they've been a little choppy. So I've been avoiding the big words. Anyway, Northern California, aside from this down here, fairly quiet. Southern California, do we have any changes out here? Nothing above 2.5. I was expecting to see a little bit of an uptick here in Southern California following that activity today up north off the coast of the Canada area up there, but really nothing major picking up here. So someone sent me an article here to the Puente Hills thrust fault, and is it going to let me? Okay. And this is regards to the Puente Hills thrust fault and the dynamics of it. They dug way deep into the area and figured out that there was 4 sizable events down in the Los Angeles area, aside from, the San Andreas fault. The Puente Hills thrust fault is a little sketchy because that can do a little bit more damage in terms of local magnitude here, as far as a large magnitude directly underneath the Los Angeles area. 4 big events. A minimum slip rate in some of these past events run from about 1.1 to 1.6 mm per year. And there's a whole wealth of information on here, but it really doesn't say exactly when the last one was. There is a little bit of interesting analysis here that they mention. There's some young folding, geomorphic folding, uplifted. Indicates that the Puente Hills thrust fault has propagated westward into the Beverly Hills area, 10 to 15 kilometers west of downtown Los Angeles. This would almost double the area of the Puente Hills thrust fault Los Angeles segment ramp and would increase the total fault plane area of the PHT, which is the Puente Hills thrust fault system, by as much as 25%, adding substantially to the size of a system-wide rupture. Alternatively, the PHT may rupture together with adjacent faults. And I went through this a little bit, but there's really no specific mention when the last full rupture was. That earthquake that struck back in 1987 on this fault system was just a partial rupture of it, a very small segment. So this area of underneath Los Angeles, and now it sounds like it's moving westwards as far as the length of that thrust hills fault towards the Beverly Hills area. This article was put out in 2003, so over 20 years ago. Goodness. And I couldn't find a whole bunch of information on it. Someone sent me this, and it's a educational article here. You either have to pay for it, or in this case, I actually logged in through my college here and managed to get this for free. So there's a little bit of information here, a lot of technical data, but no specifics on when the last one took place here. There's 4 major ruptures in the last 11,000 years. But there's also some evidence for additional older uplift and sedimentary thickening. And there's just a whole bunch of stuff I don't want to get into right now, but I read through it, and it definitely sounds like something of concern here for the Los Angeles area. The Puente Hills thrust fault looks like it's not really mapped here. It's a blind thrust fault. I don't know if these are just surface faults that they're showing here, but it's a thrust fault underneath the Los Angeles area, and that's where we've seen all the recent earthquake activity here, specifically in this region. And I think we've seen more than just a little small activity. We would have to go back more than the last 30 days to see the activity out here. We had a 4.4 and some other quakes out there. And that stirred up a little bit of nerves out there in terms of what's causing these earthquakes. Well, it's a major fault system that runs underneath the Los Angeles area, a blind thrust fault, and those are capable of producing some big-time earthquakes. And in the proximity here, if we were to see a 7.5 directly underneath Los Angeles, that would be a worst-case scenario than, say, an 8.1 over here a distance away on the San Andreas Fault due to proximity. So with everything that's going on here, folks, you know, elevated activity outside of Bakersfield with that 5-pointer, Malibu over here seeing a lot of earthquakes, multiple swarms up here against western Nevada. By the way, nothing's showing up there. It's a little odd, and for some reason I can't access the Nevada stations out here anymore. So someone turned off my accessibility option here, maybe. Oh, but that's okay. We'll keep checking on it. Tonight, not a whole lot going on there across Northern California, but of course, still be prepared. We got some movement way up north here along that plate boundary, and of course, what goes on not only across the western areas here of the plate boundary, but potentially up north could have adverse effects down here south. Texas area getting hit out in the oil fields. Nothing going on here through Yellowstone, but I do want to double check because I want to see what that 6.6 looks like. See, this is scary. I get this, and I don't know here. I've used this site for a long time. Is this thing on.org? But lately, when I've been using this, it seems like my stream goes down almost. I'm going to back out on that, I think. And I can utilize just the source datas here. Let me see if I can find it real quick. We'll go over here to the actual page from the University of Utah that monitors the activity up there in Yellowstone National Park. And I like to use the other site. I've used it a lot, but who knows? I don't know the owner of that site. Maybe that's where all my issues are coming from. I don't know. I got a warning just now by visiting that site, so it's a little sketchy. I will check out the seismograph. That's Old Faithful. Let's see here. I want to check out maybe Maple Creek area. This should work. Look at that. That's crazy, right? There's that 6.6 that stirred up there off the Queen Charlotte Sound area. Showed up nicely there on the seismograph station there across Yellowstone National Park. Pretty crazy, huh? All right. Looking at this seismograph station, though, I don't see anything following that event as far as local seismic activity. One earthquake out here in South Carolina, 1501. That was just prior to the activity out here along the west coast area of the Canada region. 2.5 there in South Carolina. Nothing big. All right, let's check out Hawaii. Got a decent amount of swarming going on here. Goodness. Have we popped yet? Is this thing... let's go over here and check here. Going to go back to the Kilauea volcano overview here, and we'll see what's up. We're definitely getting some migration here. Remember when the most of the earthquake activity here over the last couple months in that last couple intrusion events were happening right about here across the upper East Rift Zone. That has shifted much further south here across the middle East Rift Zone, wanting to stretch out here towards the lower East Rift Zone. There we go. My L's tonight are not working. Earthquake activity. Still a bunch. Quite a bit out here. That's the last 12 hours. Hundreds of earthquakes still continuing there across the area of the Middle East Rift Zone here. We really haven't had any changes in the deformation out here across these tilt meters. At least not a lot in this specific area. And the overall tilt here across the summit region shows a sharp decline, which means the magma went somewhere, right? Look at that sharp dive down here. We lost, looks like, over a month's worth of magma accumulation there at the summit area. So if anything, I think we're looking at the migration of magma further down across this area, and who's to say we're not going to see a little bit more migration southward, or it could just pop right here and we could see some older events. Or pop in some of these older areas that seen past eruptions back in 1951, 1982. That popped right up here. It almost looks like there's 1997 and 2007 eruption. It's happening right in between these two, so that would kind of make sense, right? Right here in an area that hasn't seen any major past eruption activity, and then of course it would flow out here to the ocean. That'd be kind of cool to see. But as of right now, it is not erupting. This update was put out this morning, so nothing has changed. This is just talking about how there was a bunch of earthquake activity in magma intrusion area. And there was definitely a lot of earthquake activity out there since that 4.4 struck here yesterday. So we'll continue to watch it. Obviously, we got a bunch of earthquake activity out there in this area. All right, also some activity down here across the Vanuatu region, south of Port Vila. 5.4 coming in the last hour. New Zealand here had an earthquake just shy of the Hikurangi subduction zone earlier this morning. It took the USGS a couple hours to get on there. To put it on their earthquake catalog book, and the EMSC didn't even cover this either. So it was, for some reason, delayed a couple hours, even though the GeoNet servers were reporting this earthquake as a 5-pointer. Again, it's just shy here of the Cascadia subduction zone on the plate boundary. Who knows what takes place prior to any major megaquake out here across the Hikurangi. There's not a lot of historical data to go off of, but this area is capable of producing a megaquake. And I just seen a little earthquake, a moderate earthquake just shy of that area. Leads me to believe there that may be straining quite nicely right now. A couple threes there underneath. It looks like it's in that same region there of that 4.6. Maybe stacked right on top of each other there. So we'll keep an eye on it. Obviously, it's a little odd off of the plate boundary, just shy of a major subduction zone region, right? Kuril-Kamchatka Trench, 4.7, fairly recent up there. Fairly active day, right? Fairly active day of earthquake activity out here, mainly across the North American plate there, and a bunch going on here across Indonesia Islands area and down south here. California has just been in the quiet zone today, but don't let that fool you. We've seen a lot of elevated activity out here recently, and it pauses. We go through these little pauses of quiet activity, and then it just comes up out of the blue. The latest one, a 1.4 earthquake just off the There's a couple different faults down here in between the San Jacinto fault zone and the plate boundary there. All right, let's check out space weather, because I know we're expecting a big time aurora event tonight. I'm not going to stay up for it, folks. It's going to be too late. I got to get up somewhat in the morning. It's Monday. Got some school stuff I definitely have to work on, so I need my brain in full function and not sleep deprived. But it looks like here around 09 to 1200 UTC time is going to be the peak of the KP index here up around the G3 class storm. Now, if this is going to take place here soon, I would probably, go outside and check it out. But look at this. Right now, UTC time is 0552. 0552. We still got 3 hours. Potentially more, depending on, when it arrives. But this is the expected time frame here in about 3 hours. So, 11... Oh, man, 12, 1, 2, 3, we're 2 o'clock, around 2 o'clock in the morning, California time. That would be about 5 Eastern time here. So this is going to be a very late, super early Monday morning event. But if you got nothing to do tomorrow, I would stay up and watch it, because that's a fairly significant aurora event possible tonight. Nothing coming in right now, as far as the KP index goes. Everything looks quiet. The arrival of the CME has not happened yet, but we'll know about it. It's going to be a really quick shot of some high-speed plasma that was shot off from an X flare here recently, and when it hits, it should be a dandy of a storm, a solar storm, that is. If you don't catch it tonight, got a chance of it lingering through tomorrow. Real-time solar wind stream here. Let me go over here and check this out real quick. Real-time solar wind stream is in a somewhat favorable pattern here, with the BZ component south of this line here, or bottom of this line, below this line, indicating a southward tilt, which is good. But as you can see, the speed here of the solar wind stream, no sign of a CME. Same for density. All these little runtime dots here indicative of just the general space conditions out here, and there's no sign of that CME yet. Like I say, it's probably going to come in here in about 3 hours at minimum. But the BZ component is somewhat open here, and that's a good sign. So we could see, some decent aurora activity again in a couple hours. Hopefully by then I'll be sleeping. No major flares here since that large X flare, and that's what we're waiting for, that CME that was produced from that large flare, the 5th largest solar flare this solar cycle 25. That came off of sunspot number 3825, which is, it looks like it's starting to decay a little bit. Not there's still a little bit of intermixing here of the polarity of that sunspot core, but man, I was hoping this thing would hold up and maybe rapidly intensify a little bit more, so we could get some further CME activity, Earth directed. I don't mind the auroras. I wouldn't mind seeing them again here in Northern California, but yeah, not looking all that favorable there of any significant flaring. Things are kind of taking a little nosedive in that sunspot. And aside from that, not a whole lot of other sunspots out there harbor the potential for any stronger flaring. So we'll just kind of see what that one wants to do. Either way, if you guys are going to be up tonight, enjoy the show. If you got any cool aurora shots there, feel free to send them to me, earthmastermail@gmail.com, and I'll check them out in the morning. Storm Prediction Center out here, not a whole lot going on. We had a couple thunderstorms outside of my neck of the woods here tonight, and I think we still got them going on. Let me see what we got here. Just north of me here outside of Chico, Redding Red Bluff getting hammered with a bunch of thunderstorms here. And I don't know, we might get some overnight. It's kind of a weird situation out here with this low pressure that's coming in, but it's a nice night. It only hit about 75 degrees today. Beautiful weather. It's supposed to be about the same temperature tomorrow and the next few days with chances of rain. So a little taste of fall. But that's probably not going to stick around for long. Let me show you guys these long-term models here. Here's our deep low pressure trough here along the west coast. Obviously, troughing will create ridging out here across the other areas, and that's what we got here across the Great Lakes area into Canada, cooking up there. That low pressure joins hands here with another low that drops into California here as we head towards the middle of the week. Keeping the weather cool. Chances of rain there in the forecast as well. That somewhat dissipates. And, well, this has changed. Goodness, I'm happy with that. I wasn't expecting that third one coming down here for the weekend. In fact, we were looking at temperatures climbing back up in the mid-90s, but not with this. Some cooler temperatures dipping back in for the weekend, it looks like. And then, yeah, I like that. I like those weather surprises here. We'll keep that massive high pressure up there in Canada. I don't want it down here across the west coast. No, thank you. All right. Yeah, so quiet in California right now, but don't let your guard down. We've seen way too much elevated activity make me think that it's over. Renewed activity up north here. Very minimal aftershock sequences there. It's a little odd. We'll just watch this overnight, see how it plays out. Seismograph stations there, pretty quiet across the board. Nothing major coming in there, as you can see. And we'll catch you guys back out here for the Monday morning update here. Monday is upon us here in about an hour for me. Have a good night, folks. Stay safe out there.